Welcome back to County Board Wrap Up, where we chat with county board members about key decisions they make at their monthly meetings. Joining us today is County Board Chair Katie Crystal and Board Member Eric Gutschall. Thank you both once again. And let's talk, there was a contract approved along Walter Reed Drive and 12th Street South for a bike boulevard. Tell me a little bit about this. This sounds very intriguing.
Absolutely. So this is one of several projects we've been pursuing to basically make biking more comfortable along Columbia Pike. We know this is a heavily traversed route. We know it's a community full of people like myself. I live on Columbia Pike, interested in alternative forms of transit. It's the most highly bus trafficked corridor in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so there has been a desire starting in 2013 to make biking more manageable along the Pike, starting with the creation of these bike boulevards. They include pavement markings, erecting signage, directing people largely along 9th Street South and 12th Street South, creating parallel routes to the Pike itself.
So this isn't in the road existing Pike itself, it's alongside?
Exactly.
Okay.
As this community well knows from a lot of conversation, there are some real demands on that pretty limited
Yes.
right-of-way on Columbia Pike. And so in some places we try to create the bike facility within that main roadway. And the decision was made in 2013 that the best way to move people safely and comfortably, because we know that's really important when it comes to whether people will choose biking, the best way to do that on Columbia Pike was through these parallel bike boulevards rather than on the Pike itself.
Okay. And how long will this stretch of bike boulevard be? Do you know offhand?
Eventually we're trying to create about 4.3 miles of a bike boulevard.
Okay. So how does this fit in? I know we have talked, I feel, ad nauseum for years now about different transportation improvements along the Pike. As you said, it's one of the most heavily traversed areas, not only in Arlington, but probably throughout the entire Commonwealth. How does this particular venture fit into that?
I think this project is actually exemplary of our overall approach to how we do transportation planning in Arlington, which is, it's about every mode of transportation that we can think of. So rather, we want to make things safer for pedestrians to walk places, the more people that can walk to where their destination or walk to transit. We want to make things easier for people to bike, because we've seen how cycling in Arlington, even for families, has exploded, and that's a great thing, because everybody who's on a bike is not in a car on the roads, right? And so this is about expanding options and looking at Columbia Pike as the corridor, not just the car travel lanes, the vehicle travel lanes, but actually a broader corridor for multiple ways for people to get where they need to go and go about their busy lives.
I know there's always been talk about having Columbia Pike be kind of Arlington's Main Street, for lack of a better way of putting it. You know, you have that kind of blend of the old and the new.
Absolutely.
There's so much character along the Pike. How does this fit in, and how are we progressing, I think, to making that Main Street idea a reality?
What a great description of what we're trying to achieve. And interestingly enough, we did take also action at a recess meeting on a resolution to designate this area of Columbia Pike so that it could compete for a state grant program called, I think, Main Street
programs, yeah.
And I do think absolutely that ethos is so important, whether we talk about placemaking with the Columbia Pike Revitalization Organization or our investments in our transportation infrastructure, as Eric was describing. But as we think about the frontage of Columbia Pike itself, right, the streetscape, to use a wonky term, what we're really trying to do is create an environment that welcomes walking and maybe parking once and then getting your shopping done. Really trying to create wider sidewalks, better trees, better street lights, more welcoming bus stops, and you're seeing that in phases, right? Whether it is with the multimodal plans for the Pike, whether it is with the undergrounding of utilities, whether it is with some of the work that CPRO is undertaking with beautification, which matters too. As our executive director of CPRO likes to say, you start with the petunias, right? Get that aesthetically welcoming environment, and then the county, of course, is working on the infrastructure to match.
Ultimately, this is part of the vision of our Columbia Pike Neighborhoods Plan, right? That we want to have this corridor, and we know that private investment will follow public investment. So this is just one of many projects, and there's a lot more investment that's to come in the Pike. But as we go bit by bit, I think we're going to see that the Pike will realize its future.
All right. Well, sounds like a perfect place to leave it for this particular edition. That's it for this month's County Board Wrap-Up. Thank you for joining us today for some of the behind-the-scenes information on decisions the board took at its February meeting. Thank you, Katie and Eric, for walking us through those actions and giving us some insight into how you make your decisions. I'm Kara O'Donnell, and we're going to be back next month with another edition of County Board Wrap-Up. And you can watch the County Board meetings live streamed or archived on our website. That's arlingtonva.us. Just search County Board. And remember to tell us what you think about these issues and more by going to topics.arlingtonva.us/engage. We'll see you next month.